Let me show you how to improve your habitats in Planet Zoo. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create your own habitat gates and barriers, how to combine them with guest fencing to create a wonderful viewing area for your guests, and how to implement them into your habitats to help you level up when it comes to building habitats for your animals in Planet Zoo. There's no wrong or right way when it comes to building habitat barriers for your animals in Planet Zoo. It basically just all comes down to your creativity and how comfortable you are at creating stuff. But I have narrowed down some building pieces what I find most useful when it comes to creating these barriers and fences, and this is them. This is the selection that I have chosen. Now, I totally understand that everybody doesn't own the DLCs like I do. I own all the DLCs, so if there is some construction pieces in the selection that you do not own, it's probably because you don't have the DLC. You can easily find the pieces that I am using. For example, I'll click on it here. It says conservation gutter pipe. Now, if you search this in your construction tab, so open your construction tab up and just go on your search bar and type what you can see on your screen, then you should easily be able to find this item. If you can't find this item, like I've just said, it's probably in a DLC that you do not have. In the back, you'll see a selection of all the mesh fences. Now, I do believe that everybody has got these, and they are very important when it comes to building your own custom-made fencing and guest barriers. Now, my two favorite wood pieces to build with are the Indonesian wood pieces. Indonesian stained timber plank is exactly the name of this one, and then we've got the conservation wood pieces as well. Now, the absolute brilliant thing about the Indonesian stained timber is that you can recolor it and you can have it look two different ways. So let me just rotate this here and just place that down, and I'm going to zoom in. You will see there's two different colors because it is stained, meaning it looks more realistic and a little bit more rustic, and something you would find in the zoo, like the paint is wearing off and you can see the wood underneath. So when you do go to click color editor, you'll see two different colors, the wood color and the paint color. Now, you can make this look rustic like it currently does now, but if you just want to modernize it and make it look modern, like you can even make it look metal. Let's do that. So I'm going to put a silver there, and I'm going to put a silver for the second color. Now, when I do this, you will see it's totally silver, and it's now not like a stained wood piece. It now looks more like metal, and if I go to change it to black, both colors, you can see it now looks like black metal. But that's what brings us onto the conservation wood pieces. Now, once again, you can have these wood pieces look rustic and realistic because you can actually, if you zoom in, which I'll do now, you can see the stain in the wood, the grooves of the wood, and it's all about these little details in anything you build in Planet Zoo. But if I want to get rid of these stains, what you can see here, and the design of the actual wood, I can do. Let's just recolor that to black, for example. Once again, we've got a piece what looks like metal, but it's actually wood, and it's all about using other pieces what are designed to be used in a certain way, like this conservation gutter pipe. It's supposed to be for guttering. If I click on this big one here and I recolor it to silver once again, it gives it a really metallic look, making a metal pole. These Zookeeper metal wires are absolutely brilliant for attaching on the side of your mesh pieces to make it really look like mesh fencing. Then you've got all the bits and bobs, as I like to call it, all the things you can add to even increase the realism and the look of your habitat barriers and your guest fencing. Stuff like the Planet Zoo brace anchor, this can go on the bottom of fences to make it look like it's actually screwed into the ground. Stuff like the conservation tool wall hook can make it look like you're attaching two different mesh pieces together and using it as kind of like a bracket. This is a brilliant new piece out of the Americas pack, the Fiesta Ironwork window. Now, it's meant to be used as front of a window, but you can use it in your habitat barriers to make it look like your barriers are more sturdy, or you can even use it as fencing, as simply as just rotating it round like that, and you've got a fence which is going to act as a guest barrier. And of course, if we're talking about barriers, we've got to talk about glass as well. Any type of glass, really. These are my favorite glass. These are just the glass panels, and when you combine all of these, you can get some really good looking habitat barriers and guest fencing. So let me show you how I go about doing that right now. Right, let's just grab one of these mesh pieces and we'll just duplicate it and we'll put it over here. And then I'm going to grab these metal pieces, and this is what I want, this gutter. Remember, we recolored it to silver to make it look like metal, but this is actually gutter piping. We're going to grab one of them, and then let's see what else we can grab from this section here. I'm going to grab that. I'm not sure how I'm going to use it yet. I'm going to put that over there, and then I'm going to grab that for the base, put it over there. I'm going to furthermore, I'm going to actually grab the smaller one of this, put that over there, and then I think I'm going to grab some of the wire pieces as well. Right, let's see what we can come up with here. First of all, that's too bright, so I'm going to recolor this to, again, like a metal. And then I'm just going to, well, an easy way to get this exactly lined up, you can use X on your keyboard if you're playing on PC and just line it up with the advanced move tool like that. But a very easy way is if you go on the bottom right here and just make sure your angle snap and angle snap rotation is on, and then it will snap right to the end or the top of that line. And then if you just rotate it, it will rotate it so it fits directly on the end of that mesh piece. Let's place that down there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll place another one down on the other side as well. I'm going to go ahead and raise this off the ground, but first I'm going to merge these three pieces I just put together. I'm going to raise it off the ground like so. Right, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm just going to grab this piece here, which is the European window shutter hinge. I'm going to grab this. I'm just going to try something here. So I'm going to try to snap it to this, and we're going to rotate it like so, and we're just going to place it in there like that. I want it sticking out like so, just there like that. And then I'm going to put one there, and then I'm just going to place these as evenly as I possibly can, like so. Remember, all these little details, once you've put them all in, it is very time consuming, I'm not going to lie, but if you do want to up your level of habitats and make your habitats look better, hopefully you do, that's why you're watching this video, then these kind of little details really help you do so. There we go. I'm going to have that as the last one. Now that's actually too many for me. I'm just going to delete every other one now. And what I always say in Planet Zoo, if you're not happy with something, go back and change it. Could have left that. I wasn't happy with it. I've gone back and changed it. Merge everything together what we've already built, and I'm just going to slide it into there like that. Just like that. Oh, I missed one. So let's move that over. There we go. And then we can go into this group, hold control on our keyboard, and just left click on these. Sorry if you are playing on console, I play on PC, so when I'm describing how to build stuff, it's obviously going to be in PC. I'm actually going to split these as well. I'm going to add them to that. Then I'm going to add these and this pole together. And then I'm going to duplicate this, advance move it, we're going to rotate it all the way so it's facing the opposite way, line that up exactly so it's symmetrical on each side, and you can really see how now this fence is coming together. I'm going to go and grab this now, and I'm just going to place this in like so, and we'll do it again on the other side like that. Then we're going to grab this, what we grabbed earlier, the ironwork window, and we're going to put this just on the base of this. Just like that. And we'll place that on the top as well. Now I want to add a little bit more detail in, so I'm going to go into rope now. Let's have a look if we can put some rope on this pole so it looks like the bolts are attached to the rope or secured by the rope. And these Oceana ropes might just work absolutely perfectly, in fact. Are they a bit too big? They're a bit too big. That one's not. Recolor it, make it look like metal once again. Can even go a little bit darker. There we go. And then we're just going to line these up with the bolts that we've already put in. like so. And like I always say, once you've got one side, you've got the other, because you can easily merge these together and then duplicate them and advance move them over to this side, just like that. Right, we now need to create the guest fencing. We've got the habitat barrier in, let's create that guest fencing. What I like to do is I like to go about a 2 meter gap. Now I know, for example, this is a 2x4 meter plaster piece, so if I just line this up here, I can gauge a 2 meter gap quite nicely. I'm just going to place that there, and then I'm going to get this because I'm going to stick with the plaster pieces. And what I'm trying to do here is just create a curb, and in between the curb and the habitat barrier will be some foliage. Let's go ahead and delete that, and let's go into foliage now. So let's go into nature. Again, you can put anything you want in here, really. I like to use like green grass and stuff like that. So let's do that. Actually, let's add some green grass down, like so. Add some of the smaller ones. Remember, it's totally up to you what kind of stuff you use. You can have it coming over the barrier, it's up to you. What I'm going to do is grab this because I want something a little bit more bushy here now. I want some different colours as well, so I'm going to go into green grass again and just add these colours in the gaps like this. I love adding different colour variants when it comes to foliage. Now we've got that planter in, we can now go ahead and make the actual guest barrier by following on with these plaster pieces. So I'm going to follow on with the plaster piece. That's too thick, this will do. I want to keep it as level with this as I possibly can do. With the pole, that is. My mouse is playing up, I don't know what's going on. Right, put this in. We'll narrow this down here like this. Put that in there. Get this one level with this one. And put that in. There, like that. And now we know it's level with the other side. We can just rotate it around. There we go. And then we can go ahead and you can, once again, you can use any pieces you want. I'm going to grab this same piece here, what we used on the actual fence. I'm going to use it as the guest fence. So coming down here like this. One in there. And one in there. I'm going to go into the wood pieces. I can actually grab one here, can't I? One of the smaller ones. I quite like this circular one actually. So I'll grab that. And I'm going to put it on the top as a little handrail for the guest. So let's slide that in ever so slightly like that. We'll change the colour of it to a nice wood colour. That'll do. We'll go there and there and build this custom made fencing up now. So just like that, you have now got your custom made habitat barrier combined with your guest fencing. You can go ahead and merge all of this together like so, and then you can easily duplicate it and advance move it however you want, like that. Now that I've shown you that one, I know that was a little bit complicated for some people. I'm going to show you an easier way to do it, and we're going to be using the on the grid method. And this works really well when you're actually trying to entwine it and integrate it into your habitats. For this, I'm going to choose an on the grid piece, and I like to choose the floor piece. Now, I like to use plaster or concrete because that's realistically what people would walk on in real life. And we're just going to place that down. We're now just going to lower that down just above ground level like so. Now we're going to get a mesh piece once again. I'm going to line it up right on the end of of this floor piece. Then go into this group by double left clicking, and we're just going to put it on 2 meters, and then we're just going to go out one like that and place it, and then delete the original one. Now we've got that 2 meter gap where our foliage is going to go, our planter. You can then simply go ahead and design your mesh fences exactly how you want, just like I did previously. For this one, I'm going to use some more wood pieces, conservation wood pieces to be specific, and I'm just going to place them in like that, and then one on the other side like so. Once again, we're going to make it higher so it's off the ground. We'll pull these down like that. We can then duplicate these and make them level. Now here is a quick tip. If you want your barriers to look like they anti-climb, this has no effect. Remember, we're going to be using null barriers. But if you want to make it look like the anti-climb, you just need to build in. So let's type in mesh. Actually, I don't need to because I've got it over here, haven't I? Let's grab this, some of this mesh pieces. We'll grab this one and we'll duplicate that, and we'll just angle snap that onto the top like this. Slide it over like so. And we're just going to angle this in, and we're going to go 1, 2. You can either have it like that, or you can have it like that, or somewhere in between. If you narrow your angle snap down to 15 degrees, you can have it whatever level you want. I'm going to have it about there. And now, once again, you're going to go into your conservation wood pieces. Let's grab one from over here. Grab this one. We want to find the same length as the mesh fence. And then you're going to do the same. And you're just going to line this up like so. Boom. Boom. Other side. And you can see how this is forming already to make it look like it's anti-climb. Let's just delete that one for now and have a straight up one. I'm going to grab these Indonesian wood pieces actually, and I'm going to recolor them to black to make it look like metal. And I'm going to snap it to there, and I'm going to come in like this. We'll rotate it around, and this will be the base of the barrier, like so. We can then merge these together, duplicate them in advanced move, and put it on the top as well. Instead of using this one, what we did before, which is the Planet Zoo brace anchor plate, we're going to use this, which is the Zookeeper metal pole base, and just place them in on the base of those. Now for our guest barrier, we're going to use glass this time. I'm going to place it just on the edge of there because we know that is a 2 meter gap. Now, if you're struggling for sizing and getting everything to scale, if you download this blueprint, the Archer, from the Steam Workshop page, you will see how tall your guest, because it's exactly the same size as a guest in your zoo, how tall they come up to, like so. So I can have this a little bit higher. This just really helps when building stuff to scale. I'm going to grab an Indonesian piece again, and I'm just going to line this piece of glass now and give it a little bit of a trim. Put it there. And just line it all around the edge. Now I'm going to go into plaster piece. I just love using the plaster pieces. I don't know what it is in Planet Zoo. But anyway, yeah, we're going to get a plaster piece. We'll go off the grid. And we'll get this one. And we'll just come down like this. This time we will add mulch. If I can spell it correctly, that is. Let's add some mulch and get that in. Once again, it's up to you what kind of foliage you put in there. For this example, I'm just going to put some pretty flowers in this one, I think. Once again, make sure everything is in the same group. Merge scenery into group. Boom. But now, because you've got an on the grid piece in this group, if you double left click and go into the group, hold your left mouse button down, select a box like this, let it go so it selects everything. Watch this. Just press duplicate selection, and you could just easily just duplicate that to create your viewing area, and it creates the paths as well. And remember, paths will go underneath your construction pieces. Just press align to grid, select the grid, and then just line your paths underneath your custom made paths like so, and your guest will still walk over them and still have a brilliant view of your animals inside your habitat. Right, for example purposes, I'm just going to show you how you would integrate these kind of barriers into a habitat itself. Now, these are the two barriers that I've created. On the left is the first barrier I showed you how to create, which is an off-the-grid one. Obviously, it's a different design because we're going with a different theme for this habitat. And on the right is an on-the-grid option. I'm going to be using both of these in this one habitat. First, let's use the on-the-grid. Now, I want to double-click on my left mouse button, and I just want to hover a box over this and duplicate this. And you can see we can easily now just slot these in where we need them to close off the habitat and to create that barrier. If you get a little bit of an overlap like this, we don't want it. Just narrow your grid size down to 1 and slot it in just like so. Let's carry on onto the other side here and finish off that barrier. To finish off the floor, all we need to do is double click back into the group and just finish off the floor like so. And there we go, you have created that viewing area and that guest barrier now for that habitat. To integrate off the grid ones, these I use as gap fillers, so let's just duplicate it. You might see it go up like this. For some reason in Planet Zoo, when you just press duplicate and not advanced move and duplicate, it rises up. Don't ask me why. Anyway, just hold your shift button on your keyboard and just move your mouse down so it goes back to ground level like that. And I'm going to put these here. I'm going to put, I'm going to put one here on the outside, in fact, just like that. And then we can even go into advanced move and duplicate. And we're just going to line these up like this to fill this gap, what we've had to stop our animals escaping. Let's press X, make sure your angle snaps on and rotates that. And we'll line it up with the last pole, which you put on the straight bit. Once again, you're just going to line them up ever so slightly. Like that. You can have an overlap. Don't worry about it. You can even go ahead now and delete certain parts. If you don't like the look of that, you can go ahead and delete that. So it's just one out. Yeah, and there you go. I have pretty much filled that gap and I've put these in as our viewing area for guests. But what I would recommend is that you create your habitat barriers and your guest viewing area first. The first thing you do before you create any other elements of a habitat. And once you've got that area created like I have here, you can go ahead, build around it and create your habitat. Don't be afraid to get creative. I mean, that's what the game for me is all about, expressing my creativity. You can see on the right side, I've got a mesh circular viewing area for guests, but on the left, I've also got a glass one. I just dug out a hole in this wall and put a glass piece in. Now I've got two separate viewing areas for guests. Once again, you can see that the foliage is separating the guest barrier to the actual habitat barrier to keep our guests away, to make it look more realistic and better, to be quite frank. Right, let's talk about habitat gate. We're going to be using no barriers. Obviously, you have to use no barriers if you're going to be using your own barriers, like I've showed you how to create. Now, let me just bring up my UI. You will see my habitat gate is located here. Now, if I go and edit barrier and zoom out, you will see the outline of where my barrier is. The white line is where my path is. Obviously, I've used no paths because I've put custom paths down. But all you have to do, right, is have a separate building for your backstage area where your zookeepers and vets can access. I like to put little keepers up there as well. And then just put your habitat gate in and just run a null barrier all the way around the outside of your hard shelter and those custom beautiful made barriers, what I know you now know how to create. Just run a null barrier. It doesn't have to be as neat as this as well, but it does have to be on the outside of the gates. Your personal made barriers and stuff like that needs to be on the outside of it, or your animals will escape. It'll flag up as a notification your animals escaped. Your guests will run, you will get processed. It will not be a good time for your zoo in Planet Zoo. So yeah, just run a no barrier all the way around the outside until you get to the other end, and then just connect it to the other side of the gate. And that's it. You've got your own barriers in place, which will stop your animals escaping. They also don't degrade because they've bypassed the grading system, so you don't need a mechanic to repair them, and they look a hell of a lot better. And there we have it, everybody. Hopefully you can now go forth and create your custom made barriers and your guest fencing to create even more beautiful habitats. I wanted to make this tutorial video to explain to people how to create these barriers step by step and combine them with guest fences and integrate them into your habitats to create better looking habitats overall. But if you do want to be lazy, there is the Steam Workshop page, isn't there? Even myself, if you scroll down, my Steam Workshop link will be in the description down below, and on there are some already made custom barriers that you can quickly implement into your habitats to make them look better and make your zoos look better. If this video has taught you anything or inspired you to build in a certain way, then please hit that like button. And if you want to see more Planet Zoo tutorial videos like this, if you've not already, hit that subscribe button. It's free and it helps me a hell of a lot. But with that being said, that concludes this video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next Planet Zoo video.